Sitting on the water with plenty of history on every corner, Baltimore has long held the nickname Charm City. This year, though, the city's suffering a less positive image. Locals called it the summer of the gun. With a murder count this year at 177, Baltimore is on track to be one of the highest homicide rates in the nation. Photojournalist Joe Giordano focuses his lens on the violence and its aftermath in a series for the Baltimore City paper.
I just want to give people a peek of the side of the city that most people don't get to see.
I met Joe trying to bring the pictures to show the viewers and the readers this thing is real.
What'd you hear?
No, my gunshot. That's all I heard.
How many gunshots did you hear?
Oh, no.
I believe you blocked the alley off.
No, it's not off.
We're in the trenches of a war. Baltimore is the place to be killed if you want to die.
They want nobody up there. Where does she live?
In the house where it passed.
I said, you know, I want to do an old school black and white photojournalism record of this violence problem in Baltimore. I want to get the street side, I want to get the victim's family side, I want to get the gang side. I wanted to pull these people out of their environments and have the viewer be confronted one-on-one with a victim of a crime. I really wanted to get back into the reason that I got into photography was to expose people to things that they wouldn't normally be exposed to.
Eagle, we got this sergeant.
It looks like we have a triple shooting. The police are following the vehicle. I follow the Baltimore City Police on a 5.0 scanner app for my iPhone. So as soon as they put it up, I hear about it. There was quite a spike in shootings and homicides as opposed to last summer. One of my objectives was to figure out why. There's a thousand theories to the rise in heroin use, to possible gang violence. It's one of those puzzlers that no one seems to be able to get a handle on.
It is a wonderful city. It is my home. But it is infected with something that needs to be eradicated.
Reverend Williams I met at a shooting a block away from his clinic. He has a methadone clinic in East Baltimore. He was appalled at the violence down the street from him. He lost a daughter and a nephew to gun violence in Baltimore.
Approximately 12 years ago, my daughter Lisa was shot and killed in a drug deal gone bad. It nearly destroyed me. It was my only daughter. Justice can incarcerate, justice can take a life away, but who is it that can give you your child back? Justice can't do that. And my only daughter I will never see again until I see her in heaven.
Some people fortunate enough to get justice served, some people not.
Ball is a member of a gang. His tattoos indicated that. He is a hip-hop artist. He specializes in hardcore hip-hop. I wanted to see what the music community thought of the violence in the city, how they view it through their prism.
We make music that comes from our environment, what we're influenced by, what goes on around us, what we grew up around. We just speak on basically what we sing, everything we've been through. This past year I have actually lost, I've been to probably a handful of funerals. I lost a couple of my homeboys. It always affects you. Violence always affects you, every day. It affects the city every day.
The city shut down a number of rec centers and after-school programs for financial reasons.
It's nothing to do but gangbang, so a lot of kids don't have nothing to look forward to but that. So that's what Baltimore is headed right now. The old Baltimore I grew up in, we used to fight and shake hands. We don't use guns. This is just out of order with these guns.
Deidre is the cousin of Davon Akemi, who was gunned down in July.
Getting gunned down in broad daylight, 5 o'clock p.m. don't sit well with me.
The city paper had any interest after the shooting, which a lot of the media places don't. They come out, they take stock footage of the stop sign, the cross street, the flapping police tape. maybe a quick on-site, and they leave. And then these victims and the families, they're kind of forgotten by the media. Let's see the victims. Let's try to go to a funeral. Let's talk to these people about the aftermath and the effects of gun violence.
I hope that it really dawned on people. I hope people look at them pictures and really we need to stop the violence and just bring more unity within each other, especially the black community, because we're losing each other.
I want folks to be angry. I want them to be mad, because this is not a passive issue. I want them to demand of our elected officials to help us stop the senseless killings on the streets of Baltimore.
I think one of the worst things I've seen at any of these crime scenes are the little kids on bicycles and big wheels that, think it's funny or mess around with the cops or mess around with people that are there. And there's a body 20 feet from them, and there's no emotion, just blank. That to me that's the hardest part of the project, is seeing how that generation is going to grow up completely desensitized to violence. The most powerful ones are the remnants of people. When someone's gunned down and the ambulance takes them away, they leave behind things like shoes and baseball caps. Just remnants of this person's life. They're left behind on the curb, bloody shoes, bloody hats, and bloody clothes. And then at the very end, the EMTs or the fire department come in, and then they hose down, they kind of clean the area with bleach. And that's someone's DNA. It's somebody that's being just completely washed away.
The moment it touches their lives, then they will understand, hey, wait a second, there's a part of Baltimore I'm missing. If we notice how the Inner Harbor, which is a beautiful, beautiful place to visit, beautiful place to spend a day, but see, that's for the visitors. But what about the rest of us that live in Baltimore and subject to these acts of violence each and every day? We want to be safe too.
It just comes out of nowhere. We were sitting on my house waiting, and all of a sudden the call comes through. I'd like people to reflect on mortality and the fact that anything can happen to anybody in an instant. This is the guy that got shot in the chest? What goes through my head when I see the puddles of blood or the bloody clothes is that an hour ago there was someone there who woke up in the morning, had breakfast, went on the cell phone, hung out, and they're gone in a second for nothing. If this spike in gun violence continues, I'll go all year. But I don't want to continue it. I want to end it tomorrow, but that doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
For the past 5 years, the Baltimore PD tweeted prompt notifications of confirmed shootings and homicides from all across the city. More than 40,000 people followed to get crime alerts as they happened. But just this past Monday, the Baltimore police did an abrupt about-face, officials deciding not to tweet criminal on criminal crime, and that caused a public outcry. The spokesman said, quote, "The department is not going to tweet out every time a drug dealer shoots another criminal in the leg for non-payment." The page fell silent this past weekend, even though 4 more people were shot and wounded in separate incidents. Non-fatal shootings in the city are up 19% this year.